actually gave you the reason. The chairman said that the information would be made available at the next public session ahead of the council meeting on the 5th of November, which didn't get to it. The answer to the question is the composition of 189,374 is land purchase 180,073, burial ground 7323, and the vehicle 1978. And that was the answer that was sent.
Can I just come in on that?
Yeah.
I'll just read that. The decision of the chairman was that the information requested will be made available at the next public session ahead of the council meeting on the 5th of September, or 15th of September. I was at that meeting. I don't recall that being said at all. Because normally, if the information is not available at the meeting there and then, we normally write to people. I can't remember any instance where we've said we will give the information at the next meeting. I don't believe that line to be true.
Yeah. It was on the notes of that meeting.
Well, it may well be on the notes, but the notes were produced, I believe, after a letter was sent.
Well, we've got the letter now from Mr. Stone, and we've got a copy of the reply that's been sent to him, so if we move on, if you're happy with that. To consider resolutions notified by members of the committee. No resolutions may be moved over this. Oh, sorry, yeah. Following items available members on request. Village Watch 218, Chesterfield Canal Trust, the Cuckoo Autumn 2014, and Local Council Update issue 176 and 177. They're available. Can everybody wants them? Next one. Notification. Notified by members and committees. No resolutions may be moved unless listed below. Number 10. Now I'm going to put something to here. I've had Jude Dalton on the phone today. She's very quite ill, and she would like, if possible, to have the ones which you refer to her deferred to the next meeting so that you can answer questions yourself.
No, we've delayed this meeting twice, and I believe the council meeting should go on as per is.
Right, that's a proposal.
Well, I don't have to make a proposal because that request is not on the agenda. Therefore, it's not a formal request.
Well,
therefore,
okay, we'll carry
you
on.
can introduce it, but you can't change the agenda.
All right, we'll carry on then, as we are. Number 1, to receive minutes of the annual parish meeting. Yeah, we're just receiving those. We're not passing them, we're not signing them, we're just receiving them.
Well, we're allowed to make comments, that's what we're here for, to discuss.
Did you make a comment when they were signed? We don't sign them. No.
How can you sign them,
no,
Chair, when we haven't even received them?
Are you receiving these? Are you receiving these?
No, I've put my hand up to speak on them. Just because we're receiving them doesn't mean we can't discuss them.
Right, okay.
Right. I'm going to declare a personal interest. Because I'm going to refer to something that refers to me at that meeting, and I'll read out. Mr. Thornton attempted to read out a statement outlining his version of events. This is item 6, by the way.
Yep.
Outlining his version of events following last year's meeting. Mr. Thornton was advised that doing so could put him in breach of a binding over order. Mr. Thornton withdrew the item. That is factually untrue. I was not at any time in breach of any order. I wasn't advised by anybody who has authority to advise me that I was in breach of an order, and I didn't withdraw the item. You, Chairman, moved on and wouldn't allow me to continue. And I'd like the answer I've just given recorded in the minutes, please. The statement is, I wasn't advised, I wasn't in breach. Right, here's another one, Chair. How come when Councillor St John asked for something to be recorded in the minutes, i.e. when I called him corrupt, that you and the clerk put it in the minutes? When I asked for something to be recorded in the minutes... Because it's about 6 words, Stuart, yours is about paragraph and a half. Don't interrupt me, please. How come when I asked for something to be recorded in the minutes, you and the clerk are refusing to do it?
No, we can record them, Stuart, but it's a long...
See, this is the problem, Chair. We have one rule for one set of people around this table, and another set of rules around the table for others. Unless you start being fair and equal to all councillors, you're going to have to start either standing up to the job or considering your resignation.
What does the member want to be recorded?
I'd like it to be recorded that when we discuss these minutes, I wasn't advised I would be in breach of a binding over order, and I didn't withdraw the item. I was prevented from speaking by the chairman of the meeting. That's all I'm recording.
Write it down so we get it right.
So you record in the minutes?
Yes. So
if I write it down, I will write it down for you.
That's what I meant.
Right. In that case, I apologise, I misunderstood.
To give notice...
Sorry, Chair, can I just make a comment on this? Because I know there's been a lot of sort of like women and iron about these parish meetings and the fact that people are classed as being councillors at least, but actually from the minutes, they're not, are they? Because they're referred to as Mr. And there's only yourself and Michael are in official capacity. So people have been saying that people are here as councillors, but they're actually not here as councillors. And I went to the Linton meeting on the same night, I think Mr. Saturday as well, and it was spelt out by the chair there that none of the councillors there in an official capacity. They could not, vote or anything like that. It was only there as residents. So I said there's been a lot of sort of stuff bandied about that. Take council from Councillor Boyd Thornton's point of view, whether he was there as a councillor, but obviously from the minutes, he's not, because everybody is referred to as Mr. So therefore that one night,
and only
you're not there. So
the residents of Anston are allowed to speak.
So anything that went off is not there as a capacity of the council, it's there as a private individual.
Right. Okay. Yes, Sue. Yes, Sue.
Thanks. A couple of things I want to say. First of all, it would be nice, I suppose, in the interests of fairness, if everybody got the same amount of airtime around this table, which clearly they don't. Councillor Thornton gets considerably more than anybody else. However, be that as it may, I'm just thinking about this meeting. I seem to recall, actually, that what happened when Councillor Thornton, or Mr. Thornton as he was then, started to read out his statement, somebody from the somebody else in the group said, well, shouldn't we be hearing, first of all, if a statement was made, should we not be hearing the police statement that was made, and should we not be hearing the both of them? That would be fair, wouldn't it, if we heard the two statements read out as were given to the police at the time? I think that was agreed.
First thing is, if you wish to speak at this meeting, I don't hold the meeting. I put my hand up to speak and the chairman points to me. If you wish to speak at the meeting, and so I go through the chair, all you have to do is put your hand up. You can speak as much as anybody else around this table, and you've never been prevented from speaking at this meeting. So when you're trying to infer that I'm hogging the table, that's disingenuous, untrue, and I think the chair ought to take the matter up. Can I just go ahead and clarify something? I gave Mr. Brindley the opportunity to have his say at the meeting. Mr. Brindley declined. However, what's happened since then, I'm glad Clive's clarified something, is I'm now under investigation by R&B Standards Committee as a result of a complaint by Councillor Dalton, Councillor Stonebridge, Councillor Wardle and Councillor Bridges. Councillor Bridges just happens not to have made a statement, which I'm inquiring why not. But what they're trying to do for is that the three councillors who've made statements and one member of the public are implying that at that meeting I was acting and giving the impression I was acting as a councillor. And that's why they're trying to get me done. They've lied in the statements. The only person who's not lied in the statements is Councillor Bridges, who for some unexplained reason has not bothered to give a statement
Chair,
to the investigation.
I was not asked to give a statement. It's not that I couldn't be bothered. I was not asked to make a statement. And I object to being accused of not being bothered. But can I also say about that meeting, the person who gave the warning was a senior magistrate. I was there.
Would you like to name that senior magistrate?
I couldn't name.
No, name the senior magistrate. If you're going to mention people, you need to name.
I've forgotten his name for a minute.
Right, can I be attention, please? This is getting off the point.
Did you make a complaint? Did you make a complaint against me?
It's getting off the point.
Yes.
I'd like to move on, please. Right. To give notice of amendment to Standing Order 95. Now, this one is, in fact, to make us conform to the rules and regulations as they are. Because 95 says, photographing, recording, broadcasting or transmitting the proceedings of a meeting by any means is not permitted without the council's consent. Now we've got to put that as an agenda item so that we can change it. So that will make us then right. Okay. So can I have a proposal that this goes on the agenda of the next meeting?
Before I make a proposal, Sorry, did you have your hand up for me?
Yes,
If you had your hand up for me, you quite...
I was
Well,
saying
you're right to
I
speak.
agree with that.
Yeah. So you're seconding
a
that?
proposal. I'm seconding
Okay, so,
that.
So now I'm going to ask the question. Now we've had a proposal.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the question, what's the amendment? Where's the wording?
The
What
amendment
are we
is
voting for?
yeah, it will be presented at the next meeting.
No.
Before we vote.
Yeah.
But why have you given notice? There's no need to give
You've got to give notice if you're going to change standing orders.
No, right. If you're going to change standing
You've
orders...
got to give a month's notice to change standing orders, and we're giving notice now that we intend to change this. Now, will you be... Just move on.
Don't come to temper with me.
I'm not...
Right,
You've not seen me with me.
let me continue. You're quite right. We have to, if we wish to change standing orders, we have to give a month's notification. That notification should include what we're going to change to. You can't ask us to agree a notification on something we don't know what we're changing it to. That's why the reason you have to give the notification a month in advance is to allow every councillor to have the opportunity to see what the proposal is, and then they can discuss it at the next meeting. We haven't got an amendment to vote on. True?
Well, if you look at this, what I've just read out, all we're ticking out is the not. It means it's not permitted.
Well,
now,
I don't know that because you've not told us. You've not presented a document in front of us to tell us what the amendment is.
Yeah, there'll be a lengthy document to replace it. You're now giving notice. We're going to propose it in the second. Can we just proceed and take a vote?
Don't close me down. I'm trying to sort a problem out that you just made for yourself. Right.
The problems don't exist, only in your own mind. There's no problem to this.
No, don't start that. Listen, if you, at the next meeting, give us the full amendment on what you're going to change it to, it will have to stand at that meeting for another month. You cannot put a notification to change standing orders in front of us without showing us what it is.
Can I move that we allow the chair to chair the meeting?
We are going to put this on we're going to put the actual wording on the next meeting of the Finance Committee so it can be discussed and it will then be approved at the following council meeting.
You can't put it on the Finance meeting because that excludes me. It's a change to standing orders and it has to go in, front of full council. It also excludes Stephen as well. We're going to start following standing orders around this table. We're just going to make it up as you go along.
Well, okay, you don't delay it for another month, that's fine.
No, I'm not delaying it. I'm pointing out the error of the ways that are happening. I've done nothing.
Okay, so
I'm not delaying nothing.
So we want this to be next month. If we do
I
what
was
we
telling you
do,
what
it's
will
going to be
happen.
2 months, so it can be another delay.
Well, that's not my problem. That's the problem that you, as chairman, haven't ensured that we've been given the amendment. Nothing to do with me.
Right. All those in favour of putting this on the agenda for the next parish council meeting, when you will have had the actual wording. It's just to make sure you can fall in.
Can I just ask that although Councillor Dunton and Councillor Baker aren't on that committee, will they get a copy of that?
First of all, what we've decided now is going to be delayed another month, so next month we'll try to come to the council meeting and then give it the council notice.
I thought we just said we were going to read to finance and then full council.
That's as you can. It's not changes to standing orders have to come in front of full council.
Right, so if we put it back another month then, what we'll do...
No, right. If you're going to do it properly, you should have brought the amendment to us, to here in front of us today. We would have agreed to put this on a month's notice and you could have voted it for next month.
This
The
is
problem
just
is you haven't followed the rules.
to give notice of amendment.
So where's the amendment? I've asked you 3 times, where's the amendment?
We're giving you,
You're asking
we are
me-
going to amend this, do it.
You're asking me to vote on nothing. You haven't given me an amendment to vote on, so how can I vote on an amendment?
You're not voting on the amendment, you're voting
I
on
know
the
exactly what I'm talking about.
Come, do it. Yeah. Put it on the agenda to be there for the next week, and then we'll vote on it for the next one. Right, okay. The openness of local government bodies regulation, that's it. To approve the review of the internal audit arrangements. Everybody propose that we accept those? because I want to talk to you.
Me?
Yeah.
Lewis?
Right. This meeting is being recorded only for the vision. It's in order to test that the equipment we've got is going to work. So you're sitting in a bit where you're not seeing it.
The regulations don't say that, John. The regulations say any public meeting can be filmed. It doesn't say there can only be one camera.
We're not saying that. There's more than one camera.
The openness
I'm
of
informing members of the public who've come in late.
The openness of government regulations says any public meeting can be filmed.
Yeah.
Lewis has filmed it. What's the problem?
They can do that.
Why
I think Councillor Ives just pointing out to people
I'm just pointing out to people who come in late that we are obliged to tell people that we are recording this, but it's only for vision. It's not recording for sound.
No, if you went down to RNBC, John, I think it's in an official camera, there's half a dozen in the balcony. What's the difference?
I was told him. It's not that. You're not point. We're telling you that our equipment has been tested. You can record this, you can do what you want, because it's allowed. I'm not telling you can't do it, you can do it. By all means, do it.
No, thanks for letting me know. Just out of interest, why aren't you recording for sound?
Well, it's not going to help.
Oh, right, yeah.
We're just in the process of getting the thing up
Yeah.
in a proper order. So you can record and you can film, you can record anything you want.
Thanks.
Right, so we're going to propose in a second about it.
Who's the proposer? Who's the second?
Yeah. She's proposing.
I was going to ask the question of Mr. Saddle, just wondering whether his recording would be available to us all to see if we wanted to.
It's up to him whether it does okay. It's up to him whether it does okay. Will the record on your phone be available to
Yes, absolutely.
I'm quite sure we can put it on the council's website.
Absolutely available. All of it, every minute.
Good.
Right, can we continue then,
Any
please?
missed out on
Can we
that?
continue?
Well, I did it yours.
Can we continue? Right, Stuart.
Right. This document that's been put before us, can we just confirm with the clerk, are there any changes to this document to what was last year?
No,
I don't think there is. That's okay.
okay, so we've got a proposer and a second for that. Is that all right? Okay, all those in favour, please show.
This is the one that we should have passed.
Yeah, last.
When nobody turned up.
To approve, can you be quiet please, folks? To approve the operational risk assessment. Now you've got that. It's a lengthy document, but it's the same as last year, is it not?
The same as last year.
Well, updated, but basically it's the same, just updated.
Is there any major changes to the chair?
Just the factual changes. Yeah. Just the factual changes, the actual details of the level of the cover are more or less the same. Do we accept that? Can everybody propose it?
Yeah.
Second it? All those in favour? Right, okay. Number 5, Councillor Jepson, to discuss voting by councillors.
I'm going to defer this. Well, I'm going to ask it to be taken off because it's been on for about 2 months now. And the councillor in question, it's going another route, to put it that way.
Okay.
So
you're withdrawing it?
I'm withdrawing it, yeah.
Right, withdrawn. Councillor Jepson, to discuss the position of Vice Chairman of the Parish Council following the statements made in an open letter to the Rotherham Advertiser and the Workshop Guardian, and to discuss the comments of the Chairman in the same letter.
Well, there's another bit actually that it's out of sync because it says, when I sent it to the clerk, the actual second point 7 should be to discuss their position, so it's out of sync on there, John.
So what you
I'll try to take it all in one go.
Well, go on, yeah.
Same messing about.
Yeah.
I take it everybody on the council and the public are aware of the letter that Councillor Dalton sent to the Advertiser on the 1st of August saying she wasn't going to attend any more of these meetings because she'd been bullied and abused by parishioners. Basically, I think that as she's Vice Chair of the Council, I don't think she can continue in that role if she's not going to attend full council meetings. I think really that we have to be fair about that. I mean, I would like a longer discussion about it, but I'm aware that we're trying to get through this stuff tonight. It's just really that, as I say, I think I can't understand why she made that comment really, but obviously that's what she's made. I wasn't aware of anything like this happening. I don't know, you obviously were, Chair, because
I know she spoke to me before she...
I don't know whether she discussed it with any other councillors out here or here tonight, and my view is that if she's not going to do that, then she should step down as Vice Chair of the Council. Because if that's the case, then when the Chair's not here, she's not going to be here, so we need to make arrangements to put in place, you know, or we're going to have to start voting on somebody to share the meeting every time if Councillor Ireland's not here. And I think it throws up all sorts of issues within the parish council as to how we perform and everything else, and I think there aren't enough members here tonight. There are some other issues I'd like to discuss, but I'm considering calling an extraordinary meeting of the council to get through it.
I think this was why Councillor Dalton wanted to be here, because she was aware of all these, what can I say, issues have been put on the agenda, and she would like to have been here to discuss them. But I think she would be happy to agree with you that, yes, she'd be happy to step down as Vice Chair. I don't think that was an issue for her. She knew that was...
things.
No, I mean, sorry, Stuart. No, I was going to say to Councillor Burton was that, as I say, I don't think it's fair on the rest of the members of the council that, you know, I know she's been on a long time, 25 years, but all of a sudden to sort of make that decision, I find it quite strange. But nonetheless, I think it's not fair on the rest of us that do turn up. We all get brickbats and one thing or another thrown at us, and you know, we have to take it on the chin. But I think to make a statement in public, I don't think she can sort of retract it now. It's gone out into the press, and it's unfortunate she's not here tonight. But I think really we've got to make that decision, because we've got another meeting in 3 weeks, next full council meeting, so we need to try and sort something. And I think there are other issues that this throws up within the council as a whole that I think we need to discuss.
Stuart.
Right. First thing, I find it no coincidence that Councillor Dalton's not turned up tonight. I have to take the word for it that she's sick.
I can assure you she is.
When there's 9 items, well, not 9 items, when the vast majority of the items about Councillor Dalton, which is not here, questions have to be asked. Let's go on to the actual issue. In the letter that Councillor Dalton wrote to the paper, she quite clearly stated that the reason she wasn't going to attend was that members of the public were bullying her. Now, that's a serious issue. If members of the public are bullying councillors, and I've been bullied left, right and centre, well, I've been sat on this council, if it's right, it's a serious issue. And because it's so serious, and members of the public are being accused of the serious issue of bullying, Councillor Dalton should name them people. I've sat and watched these meetings, and the antics of what goes on in these meetings, both from that side and from this side, haven't changed very much in the last 12 months. And I find it quite odd that all of a sudden, out of the blue, a case of bullying is made against the public. My personal opinion, and it is only my personal opinion, I believe Councillor Dalton is playing politics with the people who were sitting in the audience asking her questions. She's never been to the council to make a complaint of bullying. She never brought the subject up at all, and if it's that important, we should have been discussing it. So, in my opinion, she should name the people who's bullying, and if she's not prepared to name them, she should consider a position.
Can I just make one comment? As I say, I would have liked it to have been discussed if we'd have known the feelings, because I think it's fair that we should all have had an input to it if it's that big a problem. But I agree with Councillor Thornton. As I say, I think if you're saying being bullied, then really we should try and sort it out, and she should say, well, it is. But I was more concerned with the fact that the rest of the council weren't aware of it, and it happened sort of like the beginning of August when there were no council meetings till September, and I'm not sure whether anybody else would have put it on the agenda, but I think probably if I'd not done, when we were going through this, then it would have just, carried on as was, and nothing would have been made of it, and I don't think that that's right. So, as I say, I'd like to propose that she be asked to resign as vice chair. In fact, I think Councillor Burton said that she's...
Can
Can I make a proposal then?
You propose it?
Yeah, that she's asked to, that she steps down as vice chair of the council.
And I'll second the proposal that if she's going to fail to attend meetings, that she should stand down as vice chair of the council.
I just think it's an untenable position given the statement in the press.
Joe, give a comment.
Yes, I mean, I think I would agree with Councillor Jackson, who said it's a shame that she's not here to discuss this. And actually that's exactly what she wanted to do, which was why she suggested to the chair that perhaps this item could be deferred until she could be here to discuss it. So it seems curious to me that we suddenly think, oh, you know, it's a pity she's not here. Well, actually, but there we go. So certainly, of course she's aware that it's not, she would not be able to continue as vice chair, so that would be one thing. But yes, I mean...
She doesn't need to be asked by us.
As for the bullying, I think you will find she's quite prepared to discuss that. And it's just, as I say, a shame that you decided to go ahead without her being here, so she's not able to discuss it.
But, yeah.
Chairman,
right.
Can I ask a question?
Sorry, no, you can't. Right, we've got a proposal. There is an alternative, it's just the right to ask her if she will resign.
No, there's a proposal on the table, Chair. Stop waffling, because...
Stuart, mine might be an amendment.
Stop waffling and make an amendment.
Excuse me, could I ask, please, that councillors try and treat the chair with respect?
Well, again, I would certainly agree that the chairman and other councillors treat other councillors with respect.
It's a very rubbish question from the chairman. Says, I wanted to ask if she got permission to write it saying this.
Well, that's another matter, Mr. Lewis.
Would you like to say anything about it? Right. Well, my amendment, if somebody will second it, is that we write to and say that the feelings of this council, if you agree, that she should resign, not just demand that she resign.
Right, can I come in now? You've made an amendment, so I'll come in.
Yeah.
What you've just seen here is filibustering on behalf of Councillor Burton. There was a legitimate proposal put on the table. It was legitimately seconded. It should have gone to a vote because nobody else had comments. Councillor Burton was watching Councillor St John walk in the meeting and began filibustering. And the chair, just let me finish. I'm allowed to speak and discuss it.
No, but you're talking nonsense.
And you've just been filibustering, and you've just been asking Councillor Bridges to make comments because you didn't like the proposal.
Anybody else got to make a comment? If not, we'll vote.
You're trying to alter a proposal put forward by two councillors.
Am I allowed or not to make an amendment?
I haven't said you can't.
Could I please move that the chair is allowed to chair the meeting?
Would anybody like to second my amendment?
Will you stop interrupting? Because if you want to talk, you have to put your hand up.
Would anybody like to...
I'll second your amendment.
Right. So we'll take the amendment first, which is supposed to do. All those in favour of writing to Councillor Thornton and asking... Councillor Dodd and ask her if she would resign. That's the feeling.
There's also the issue of the other committees, but I think we need to discuss that.
Right. You've got the amendment. All those in favour.
Just before we start, please, Chair, can you read out the amendment because you've just messed it up 3 times? Could you read that?
Read it out to get a job for clarity.
Right. First of all, we've got to agree that she needs to go. And then my amendment is that we ask her to resign.
You're right,
Yeah. Can I just slightly reword that if I can? Just put in light of the press statement issued on 1st of August by Council Dodd, stating intention not to attend any more full council meetings. But it says multi-council meetings, but that to me also includes finance meetings. So that's something to read.
But she's already told me that she's going to chair the next charity meeting because I'm away. So where do we stand for that?
This is a problem. She's picking somebody here by law. She's going to choose when she wants to play the game.
Right.
And I'm...
We're going to then, you're voting now on should we ask her to resign? Would she volunteer her resignation? That's to step down as vice chair. All those in favour of that? Yeah, read out what the amendment is.
Yeah, because in light of the press statement and intention not to attend monthly council meetings, to write to Councillor Dalton and suggest that she steps down as vice chair.
Can we alter that to ask rather than suggest? Or request?
Yeah. Well, that implies that that's what you're sure to do then.
So in light of the press statement and intentions not to attend monthly council meetings, write to Councillor Dalton and request that she steps down as vice chair.
Yeah. All those in favour of that, please show. Oh, that's that. All those against? Right. So that becomes a substantive motion. So will you show again, please, that this is now the motion. Will you show that we do continue that? So just to get the amendment as.
Chair,
Stuart, we're doing it by book.
No, listen, there was a proposal put.
Yeah.
You made an amendment.
Yeah.
What the rules say is we vote on the amendment first.
Yeah. And the amendment's been carried.
Well, just let me finish, because this is the problem you've got, Chair. Right. If the amendment carries, the amendment carries, the other one falls. If the amendment falls, then we go to vote on the original proposal. The amendment has just carried.
The amendment's carried.
Ask the clerk if I'm right.
The amendment is carried. Therefore, the original proposal falls. And now that becomes the substantive proposition. So we've got to vote on that now. Is that right?
No, ask the clerk. We voted on the amendment. The amendment has stood. Therefore, the issue is now closed.
No,
the original proposal hasn't fallen because it has been amended. So therefore, because the amendment has been approved, that becomes a substantive motion on what you need to then vote.
You don't have to vote on it. It becomes a substantive motion and they voted on it. You've already voted on the substantive motion. You don't vote a second time. If the amendment's been done.
Will you stop interfering, please?
You need some interference. What you're saying is wrong, John.
Look, we've been through this so many times before, it's unbelievable.
Once we've passed an amendment, we've never gone back and voted on the original amendment. Let me give you an example to try and help clarify. If we've just voted,
no clarification required from you, we'll read the
rules. If we've just voted on the amendment and passed it, if we go back to the original motion and we vote again, and then the original motion beats the amendment, what are you going to do? That's why you don't vote on the original motion. I don't understand what all of us about. You voted for the amendment, you've won it, so what's the problem?
Because that becomes the proper motion, you have to vote on it again. You have to do it twice, I'm very sorry, but you do.
You vote it twice.
If you did, what if it falls then? What if it falls on your second vote?
Chair, are we in
And
private
that is,
session of the
No,
council?
the public are not supposed to be interfering at all.
Okay.
Trying to help you, John.
You're a long-standing councillor, Councillor St John. You should know the rules quite well. What's your opinion?
I think the chair is absolutely correct. The amendment...
Another one.
Chair, with respect, I've been in here 5 minutes and you get this sniggering from the usual small section of the audience. You are, I think, that you are absolutely correct in what you've suggested.
No,
Really
it's
not.
not.
Number 41, number 41 on the standing orders. If an amendment is carried, the resolution shall take the place of the original motion and shall become the resolution upon which any further amendments may be moved. So there you are. So now...
You know what I've just said right there?
And so,
Where is it saying there, now vote on the original motion? Where does it say?
It becomes the substantive motion.
yeah, and then you can
Right,
take
so let's have a vote on the
take-
substantive motion.
There's nothing
Move
there
progress,
about
Chair,
it.
please.
Listen,
Anyway,
Chair,
all those in favour of that,
Once it's become
as the substantive motion,
there's
please
nothing
vote.
in there about voting on a substantive motion. You've just read it out, John. It's nothing you just read out refer to any substantive motion.
It's still a motion until it's carried. Right, all those in favour of that becoming the substantive motion, please show. Right, I've got it right, that's it.
Until you've got the standing order.
Right, you've got another thing on climate.
Yeah, we'll carry on then.
Carry on. To discuss the comments of the chair.
Yeah, I mean, It's, I know you've made this, John. I'm a bit disappointed in what you sort of said. I know we all have this, but you said, you know, you sympathise, but we all turn up to these meetings, and you know, we all sympathise when people do get some stick. But I think it was just really more or less supporting her decision to do that, which I found a bit disappointing.
Not really. I was asked a question. Have you got any comment? I knew that she was going to write this letter. She said that it's all right for me to write, and I said, well, it's nothing to do with council business. It's a personal issue that you've got yourself. She wrote the letter. Then the press got onto me and they said, would you like to make a comment? I'll read out my comment, which is from the newspaper. Parish Council Chairman John Allen, Independent, said he sympathised with Councillor Dalton's decision. After the last meeting ended in chaos, he closed it early after warning people to follow council rules, but they were shouting others down. In future, if it gets out of hand, I will close the meeting and leave. That's what I said, and I stand by that. I stand by that.
I'm sort of disappointed as well that we've, not from yourself, but that we've sort of gone through this. We're missing the standing orders again when we don't start talking to the press without we go through stuff. I mean, Councillor Dalton might well have gone to you for this out. I was still extremely disappointed about the way it was handled. And I'd like to go back to the 6th of August meeting when I tried actually to raise this, and this goes on to one of the other issues, which was about lack of response to emails. I did email you on the 2nd of August asking that be put on as an emergency item on the 6th of August meeting. I never had a reply, I still not had one, and nothing happened. In actual fact, you didn't chair that meeting, and Councillor Dalton did at the end of the day. And she refused to actually have it on the agenda. I brought in or even discussed, and I was shouted down by her, which I thought quite, incorrect. But hopefully we've got there in the end. And just to go back to item 7 or 8, sorry, that's to discuss Councillor Dalton's position on these other committees. It seems that she's written that letter about being vice chair. She's going to step down hopefully from that, but he's quite prepared to carry on chairing other meetings, and such as the Finance Committee and the charity. And I do find it's a bit cherry picking. You can pick and choose which meetings you chair or you attend. We don't have that option. And I think she should look at her own self again as to where she stands on those.
You put as an agenda
I will put
on
that.
each particular committee, and then so it's
just let me, and there is one other, and then I'll get it.
The legitimacy and effectiveness.
Can I just come in before we jump on to the other items on the agenda? Can I just go back, Chair, to item 7 to discuss the comments of the chairman in the same letter? This is the letter.
Yeah, that's what I've read. I've just read out my comments.
Yes, right, I'd like to speak on that, please.
Yes, please.
Right.
Would you use the mic, please?
Have you ever, while I've been on this council, have you ever censured me for going to the newspaper without the authority of the chairman?
Yes.
Right. When you made comments to the press, did you get any authorisation whatsoever from anybody on this council?
No, because the rules say that the chairman has to go through and I'm the chairman.
If the press want a comment, they go to the chairman. I have no problem with that. But you censure people around this table for going to the press when you go to the press yourself without no authority. And can I make one point clear?
Yeah.
When you speak on behalf of the council, unless you come in front of the council to clarify what you're going to say, I want it publicly known that you are not speaking on my behalf. When you're making comments about the public being a lynch mob, I find that absolutely disgraceful. And when you're making comments against the public as chairman of this parish, you're not serving the people of this parish, you're serving your own interests. So, and if you're going to carry on serving your own interests, you should be considering your position.
So, I'll read again and you can tell me why this is not acceptable.
Not acceptable because you didn't get authority to speak on behalf of the council.
I did.
Everybody else has to.
This is not on behalf of the
move progress. Sorry, could I move progress?
This is not on behalf of the council. It was a personal question to me. And
Why did you say you were chairman then?
So every question I get from the press then is a personal question to me.
As if it doesn't.
As long
as it doesn't have anything to do with parish council matters.
So what you're saying now, let's just clarify this. What you're saying now is that comment you made in the paper about Councillor Dalton not attending council meetings has nothing to do with the parish council. That's what you just said to me.
Well, it's up to her, isn't it?
No, you just made a comment about the parish council in the newspapers without getting authority from the parish council.
Can we go back onto your effectiveness of parish council?
Yeah, oh, sorry, Councillor Burton.
I just wanted to clarify some procedure there, that it seems to me that if there's the chair of the parish council, and the chair of the parish council, if approached by the press, would be quite in order to respond to the press and speak on behalf of the council. And it's us as councillors that have to decide whether or not we want to be on the council. We elected John as a chair, and he speaks for us. Surely that is how it works. Now there may well be times when we might not agree with what he says, but at the moment he is the chair, elected chair of this council.
Right. The chairman, let me just, again, you've been on the council longer than me, so you should know the rules. The chairman has no authority over and above any other councillor sat round this table. If the chairman wants to make statements about parish council business, he should bring any comments he wishes to place in the press before council for approval. We have situations on this council where individual parish councillors are not only taking decisions outside council meetings, they're purporting to speak on behalf of the council when councillors around this table don't agree with what they're saying. But because the decisions are being made outside the meeting, councillors are not allowed to express their opinions. That's not democratic.
Stuart,
it's against standing orders.
Stuart, standing orders say that in respect of dealing with the press and media, councillors shall not in their official capacity. So you just don't put councillor on it.
So
you don't put councillor on it.
Why did you put chairman on there, John?
You don't put councillor. But it says all requests from the press and other media for an oral or written statement from the council shall be processed through the chairman, and I processed this through my mind, and I'm moving on because we're wasting time.
Because you've been caught out doing something wrong against standing orders, and your only solution to it is to call it.
Chair, I haven't been here 10 minutes. Point of order. Please chair the meeting. Do not allow this particular council to have a dialogue or even a monologue. We are
what you've just seen there is a perfect example of a councillor trying to follow the correct rules, and you have Labour councillors who are trying to bend them.
Clive, come and have your input now.
Yeah, can I?
Labour councillors are trying to bend the rules on this council all the time. Don't threaten me. Talk to me. No, you said that to me in an aggressive manner, which you've got a problem with aggression, because you're threatening members of the public, you're now threatening councillors, and you've even threatened this councillor.
Please don't hit me, councillor.
No, that's another example on camera of your bullying.
Chair.
That's on camera of your bullying.
Can I just ask for a bit of...
Please, can we make progress? Why are we here? Clive, get off your
I'd like to... You stop jumping down. Like 7. Can I just... I'll roll this item 11 and 9 together. After the debacle of the 18th of August meeting, when there were 2 councillors turned up to the finance meeting, and we weren't quorum, we had 2 gentlemen who came down from, I don't say Verona then, but Harrogate or Knaresborough, and wasted the time that night and sat there really like a pair of lemons, which was totally unfair on them. And I think we need to have a look at ourselves as now we perform at the moment, because I don't think we're performing very well to this group. And I think we've had, and this is not having got anybody, we're just saying we've had Councillor Dalton saying she was bullied, etc. and shouted at. And I think the problem is that we don't actually, I think we become complacent as a parish council when we do things. I don't think we scrutinise ourselves enough, and I don't think we ask enough questions. And it seems to me that I've looked at the agenda items, this might be me, but we don't seem to have many items unless sometimes I put them on our council Dalton does. And I think if we didn't do that, we'd just roll through the business, which might be good in 5 minutes, but there's no sort of checks and balances taking place. Now I don't think that's right. So what I'd like to do, and if the chair can correct me on this or the clerk, if we need to look at standing orders, is it 6 months after we voted them through in May? Or do we have to wait a month's notice on that? It's really, I want us to perform better, and I realise we're coming up to an important time of the year for the budget this year. There are the elections next year. We don't know who's going to be back on the council. And I think we need to set something in motion that brings us a bit more up to date with the way that we're working, how we scrutinise things and how we get value for money. And I've written a few things down there, just doodling away this afternoon. One of the other issues was Mr Thorne's letter, which took 7 weeks to, or his response took 7 weeks to get to, and I think we should try and set some standards in standing orders to how fast we reply to people's questions, and much like Borough Council does, give something in. I mean, this has got to be discussed with Michael, obviously, and his staff, to be fair to them, but you set out all the time so many working days, so we can be a bit better in how we reply to people. And I think that's something that we should look at. So I think at some point in time, whether it's when we're doing the budget or when we sit down and have a proper meeting and discuss where we can improve things, where we're going wrong, and how we can make things better, and that includes people shouting at each other all night. I think we need to try and get rid of that issue as much as we can. We'll all speak arguments from the floor and everywhere else, and that's quite right. People don't always see eye to eye about things, but I think we need to sharpen up and do things a lot better. So, as I say, I'm going to try and put something together at a later meeting and sit down and have a proper talk. If that involves using, inviting members of the public as well to sit in and listen to it, then that's what we should do. Sit down, not like a parish meeting, but somewhere where we can have a proper discussion and dialogue and see how we can move forward. Because otherwise, we're not going to do ourselves any justice at the end of the day.
No.
Yeah, actually, yes, I quite agree with you, Councillor Jackson. I think there's some good ideas there which we should try and take forward. I think it was unfortunate about the meeting of the 18th of August. I wasn't there either, and I have to say that I think I had thought that meeting was the middle of August, and I had arranged a long weekend away, thinking that it was the holiday period, and wasn't aware that the auditors were coming, so I had to send my apologies too. So it probably didn't look very good. So we need to perhaps think about that a little bit. You're quite right. I also think that our meetings could be a lot more constructive. And I think one of the problems, I know Clive is saying, well, matters of business, but at the moment we don't seem to be even getting through the basic matters of business for the parish. So I think we ought to have a system whereby we make sure that gets done and done first, and then we look at any discussions we might want to have, or in particular issues, new issues, we do that later on, so that the meetings, we make sure the business always gets done, and so the meetings are constructive from that point of view. And then we look at trying to engage with different members of the public at different times, so that we try and get a range of opinions. And I would see that would be a very good way forward.
It's unfortunate that I've looked at the attendance book. 5 of the people were away on holiday. You can't do anything about that.
It was August.
18th of August.
I appreciate that, Chair. Sorry, just a bit. I appreciate that, but I think from Michael's point of view, if he'd have known, there are people that know enough in advance who would be down, he would probably been aware that we're going to be quorum, because that's the council, the meeting and change. It's people that know it well in advance. If you know you're not going to be there, it's to join us. But just to go back, I think the reason that people question us a lot is because we don't question ourselves, and I think that's one of the reasons they don't see us actually being proactive in sorting our own problems out, and that gives them the option, which quite rightly they can have a voters, and that's where we seem to be falling down.
Right.
Yeah, Councillor Dalton, I do apologise, I'm not here. Councillor Burton has just said that we should be moving on and getting on with business. Yes, we should. We struggle to do business around this table for several factors. One is we don't adhere to the rules and regulations that we're supposed to adhere to, be they standing orders or illegal practices. When you ask a question and it's slightly awkward around this table, you don't get answers from either chairman or people who should be answering the questions. And at the first sign of anything from the public that the chairman doesn't agree, he closes books, shuts up shop and goes off to the pub. That's why we're not getting business done around this table.
Chair. Do I go to the floor?
Chair.
Yes.
Can I just say, I think that's absolute utter nonsense.
Well, you wouldn't you? Because you know it's true.
It's utter nonsense. We do try to work by the rules, and occasionally people will say, standing orders, this, that and the other. Number one is showing the chair respect. And the councillor who's just spoken does not do that. Equally,
you're on camera, by the way. So if you want to start having a go at me and not treating me with respect, speak up so we can get it all on camera.
Chair, with respect, this is sort of the barrack room lawyer. I don't mind speaking to the chair, and I don't mind entering into debate. I don't need somebody on my left-hand side trying to talk across me.
Chair, I'm going to stand on a point of order. The councillor here has just been talking about treating members of the council with respect.
Yeah.
He's just called me a barrack room lawyer. I find that insulting, I find it humiliating, and that is not treating members of this council with respect. And I expect you to take some action.
Chair, can I finish what I was going to say? The business of the council is continually disrupted. I wasn't at the meeting which didn't do more than about 40 minutes on Monday because I was at a school governors meeting. But it's quite clear that on occasion there are members of the public who disrupt our meetings. And I don't think it's good enough to say that people get hurt feelings and want to stop. I think this council has a number of people who've been very badly insulted. I fear that within the village of Anston there are many people who've got a lot to offer this village but will not stand for election because of the abuse that they could possibly receive. Now, I happen to have a thick skin. I also happen to believe that I have a lot to offer, and I want to carry on doing that. But we do not need this continual backbiting simply because we disagree.
Right, can we move on?
I'd like to reply to that.
I didn't attend that meeting and I didn't send apologies because I didn't get an agenda.
Can I just say, the councillor here, on camera, has just been complaining about backbiting and insulting the public. Can we place it on camera and on record? This is the councillor who abused an elderly gentleman of this village that was put in front of the standards committee for it. So when he starts to give lectures to other councillors and members of the public about behaving correctly, he needs to look a little bit closer to home.
Right. Can we move on now?
That, on a point of fact, Chair, that is untrue.
So he wasn't in front of the standards committee?
No.
He wasn't in front of the standards committee for insulting a member of the public?
No.
That's 3 times you said no. So did you not insult Mr Dickens? And
No.
did Mr Dickens not make a complaint against him?
No, he didn't.
That's 4 times you've denied it.
Yes. Chair, this is where accuracy is important.
Definitely it's important.
Without being interrupted, please. The complaint that I tried to ask or to speak to Mr Dickens is perfectly correct. The actual complaint about what I tried to do was actually made by somebody else on his behalf, not made by Mr Dickens.
Oh, right. Let's
so
this out.
Let's stick with the truth. Can we please make progress?
Who made the complaint on behalf of Mr Dickens? If you don't have an answer, you're going to have to...
Number 10, Councillor Jepson, to discuss the use of advertising on the benches and burial ground. Right, go on, Clark.
Yeah, this goes back to 6th of August meeting when we discussed the bench that's been placed in the burial ground. There was a minute in May, I think it was, I can't remember the exact one, that granted the installation in principle, but there was no approval given by the parish council for the plaque that went on it. And I've had 1 or 2 complaints from people that it's basically an advertising plaque that's gone on there. You'll have to wait until the meetings. And I think we're setting a dangerous precedent by putting something that actually contains a website for a group. As far as I'm aware, according to the the rules for the cemetery management, etc., etc., the only memorials allowed other than headstones and or vases, etc. Neither can any memorial be admitted or erected any part of the burial ground without the approval of the parish council in writing, Any approval given is subject to compliance with regulations to prior payment of prescribed fees. Drawings of every memorial proposed to be erected with the character of the material proposed to be used. It must be accompanied by a copy of the intended inscription thereon. I have no qualms about the fact that we gave permission for the bench, and it was a non-standard bench, which I think we have regulations we do. But the fact is that all the things up there are memorials, and this is not a memorial bench. It's not in memory of anybody. And I have a bit of a problem with that, because everybody else has had a timber wooden bench up there is been in memory of somebody, like Cliff Peacock was a parish councillor, various other people, and the inscriptions have always followed the regulations that we've set out. Now, as I said, nothing came in front of this council for approval. It was put on the agenda for this 6th of 8th meeting. We didn't get round to discussing it. Councillor Burton wasn't at that meeting. It was deferred and we never got round to it. And I made a note of the thing. It said, a donation of a bench and the offer to install it is being made by the Plymouth Brethren. We wait for that to be done. But my point was it needs permission, and we never gave permission for that inscription. And what I don't want us to see doing, and I think we're probably the first council in the country with a cemetery that's got somebody actually advertising on a memorial. It's not even a memorial bench if you break it down to the regulations. And I don't think we should go down that route. I think if we're opening the floodgates, if we have somebody putting a website on, we'll have everybody in the animals if they want to donate something. I've been up to the cemetery today to have a look. It's looking absolutely lovely, other than the grass needs cutting. The fountain looks smashing. The flowers in front of the memorial wall look absolutely beautiful now they're coming out and they're starting to mature. And I think it's a vast improvement, and I'd like to congratulate the group on what they've done. The only comment I would make is perhaps we should fill the top of the fountain and put some flowers or something on that, because it doesn't quite fit with what we've now got. But as I said, my problem is that this has never been given approval by the council, and what I would like to do is have that taken off, and the group that supplied it were thanked in the Your Mag magazine, and I don't have any problem with thanking people for donations and such like that, but I have a problem with people using it as a means of advertising within the cemetery, and I think it's totally inappropriate, and it shouldn't be there. As I say, I think we're setting a dangerous precedent. We should have having offers of things. No problem with people being thanked in the press, the committee newsletter, but not something that advertising a group or a company.
Right.
And I'd like to, as I say, propose that we have it as to remove. That the plaque is removed. I don't know where we go from that, because it's not a memorial bench. So unless there's somebody that belongs to the group that's actually buried up there, I think we're setting a precedent.
The plaque is actually, it's on the bench right back at the memorial wall. The plaque, you wouldn't know what was on it unless you actually sat down and put your specs on it, because it's 8 inches. It's 8 inches wide and 2 inches thick, and it says donated. It tells you who's donated it, and then there's a website.
Yeah, it says.
Now the thing is that can I just put this to you? Let's imagine that somebody who's lost somebody, and they're sitting up there along that seat to try and get some comfort. And suddenly they might think to themselves, I'd like to talk to somebody. Get in touch with them. What's wrong with that?
I just find that incredulous, John. I really do. I mean, you're basically becoming apologists for the people that donated the bench. I think it's totally incorrect and inappropriate.
And I've been in touch with...
It's an advertising site.
It is, John.
It says www.plymouthbrethrenchristianchurch.org.
Yeah.
Right? Well, that's a website advertising.
I'm telling you how you get in touch with them. Can I read it?
You might as well have to say, get in touch with God via whatever. It's confirmation here. Just to confirm that over 110 benches have been supplied from Logic to various public Plymouth Brethren trusts throughout the UK over the last year, and this would be on top of the ones that we have sourced themselves to match different styles. So they've had no complaints apart from anybody else, and there's 110 gone out.
Well, you're getting one from me.
You get one now from me and probably a lot of other people in the village that don't see it as a dangerous precedent. You're advertising in the cemetery.
And if you vote it, I'll vote against it.
Well, that's fine then. We know where you stand anyway, John, on this one.
Right. Is it seconded?
Well, what's the proposal?
The proposal is that the sign is removed. It's not had approval by the parish council, and it shouldn't be on at this moment in time because it's not being approved. It's not being put in front of us. I have to say, at the end of the day, we're the people who actually manage the cemetery. So if anybody has any complaints, it comes back to us, not the friends of the Anston Parish. I'm not having a go at them. I think they've been misled.
Well, can we second for your motion then?
Right, I'll second it to move forward.
Okay.
But when I've had my speech, I'm going to make an amendment.
Speech?
Chair.
I'll have to speak.
Yeah.
Following seeing this on the agenda, I went up to the burial ground, I think a week last Thursday, and sadly I fell. There were a number of people in the burial ground, a number of which I spoke to. I said to one couple, you're up here, and I happened to know the lady. And she said, yes, our daughter is buried up here. And I said, okay, what do you think of the burial ground? And she said what Clive said, which I totally accept. The burial ground is looking good, it's looking cared for, and it's obviously getting more visitors than normal. I said, have you seen that bench back there? And she said, yes. Isn't it lovely? And I said, it's got a plaque on it. Have you read it? She said,
can you be quiet and let Councillor St John?
She said, yes, I've read it. I said, does it offend you? And she said, not in the slightest.
So we've all got to accept it then, have we? I haven't finished. People are talking about the rules, and I am generally fairly brief at this point.
What does concern me, and I will address this partly to the residents who are present, is all the problems in the Middle East come about basically because of oil and one factor of a religion fighting with another.
Fancy that.
Now,
we don't want...
I do not...
Can you be quiet, please? Mrs. Sadler, please be quiet.
I fail to see what it's got to do with a bench.
If I could actually go forward, it is the Plymouth Brethren, I've said it before, or the Brethren, is part of the Christian religion. It's not a part of religion, part of Christianity which I especially follow or support. But I think they have every right to exist. And I do sadly find part of what Clive says to be smacking of intolerance. And we shouldn't be doing that at parish level. There are far more important things to do. So I would certainly not be voting in favour of removing a plaque which doesn't offend.
Can I just respond to that? I think for Councillor St John to accuse me of intolerance is a bit off.
You'll sum up later. Joe.
If I could just say something, obviously I'm part of the burial ground group, and there are some members in the public here who are also part of the burial ground group, and it would be...
interest?
No.
If speaking on behalf of your amendment...
Chair, please, Councillor Thornton, stop trying to...
It won't take any
notice.
No, the thing is, if you're a member of in this village, and you're talking about that, you have to say there's interest. You have to declare an interest.
Thank you. Yes, so I think it would be good if it were possible, and I don't quite know what the rules are on this matter, whether at some stage the people who actually are part of the burial ground group could also be invited to make a comment, perhaps later on. But what I would say is, when we set up the burial ground, and I'm speaking now, and I'm not the chair, as you know, but
you're the secretary.
So we did say that because we wanted to do some extra things and additional things in the burial ground, we would ask local groups, local businesses, local organisations, we would invite them to make a contribution, and they could do that in any way they wanted, either financially or through plants or through, in this instance, a bench. But we also said, and we agreed on this, that it actually would be very nice for us to acknowledge those gifts and donations and contributions, whatever they were. We've had quite a lot. Some of them have been plants and flowers, some of them have been, some of it's been financial and so on. Because actually, if people do see their names on things where they have made a contribution, it does help to create a sense of belonging in that community, and we thought this was a really good way forward for the burial ground. And most people that I've spoken to are in agreement with that. So I find it very sad that you know, the first kind of item, if you like, that we have there, that we've put a name on, that people are objecting to it. I'm just very sad and disappointed about that. And I do hope that other members of the burial ground will be able to make a comment later on in the meeting.
Let's start discussing facts and not fiction. First of all, nobody has mentioned anything about intolerance against a certain faction of religion. It was brought in and introduced by this councillor. Second is, nobody is objecting to the seat being there. Nobody said they want the seat removing. Nobody has said anything against the people who have donated the seat. What the objection is, and I fully agree, the objection I have against this bench is the plaque, and only the small part of the plaque that says www. etc. I don't know what the exact wording is, I have read it. I've been approached by people in the community and said they find it quite, I'm going to use the word offensive, it's too strong, they find it quite upsetting that there's internet advertising on the bench. I don't believe for 1 minute that was intentional. I don't believe that at all. It's being made out tonight as though it's bigger than what it actually is. So what I'm going to do is, I've seconded the proposal to try and move on. I want to make an amendment.
Right.
And the amendment's this, that as a council, we write to the group, we ask them to remove the plaque, we ask the group if they will go back to the people who donated the bench and ask them if they could reword the plaque and put a new plaque on.
So you're saying just to say donated by so that will be enough?
I don't see any objection whatsoever if it says donated by the group.
If I'm just saying, you see it says advertising. I don't say, I mean, I think the bench is fine, it looks well there, it suits the area it's in, it's not too big, it's to size.
Chair.
But can I just finish?
Councillor Johnson winding up the debate.
Yes.
Is that an amendment? You only stand on a point of order. You don't stand to interrupt other councillors when they're trying to speak. You are the worst culprit.
Stuart,
you turn around and you have a
Clive, can you continue with
Can I just carry on, guys? As I said, I'm quite upset that Councillor Tingency accused me of religious intolerance. I find that quite offensive, and it's something that I'll have to consider whether I do anything about it. Because far from it, I mean, I have a lot of my family and friends up in that cemetery, so he can't accuse me of having any sort of bias. I like to see it looking well, and I've complained over the years to Michael and other people about getting it to the grass cut and everything else, and doing stuff in its favour. I have no problems with the work that's been done up there. All I'm saying is, I don't think it should be used for advertising. I haven't got any problem with the rest of the plaque, and I haven't got a problem with the fact that it was put in the local magazine thanking the people. And if somebody made a £500 donation, then I would expect that to be thanked. But you can't put a sign up saying, this person donated £500 or whatever. Let's keep it sort of like on a proper, level, and not get carried away with it. And likewise with plants, you'll give an acknowledgement people donated plants, but you're not going to tie a sign around and say donated by whatever's gardens, unless that's another one coming up. But I can see it evolving into sort of like an advertising hoarding going around the cemetery at the end of the day, and that's not what it's about. And I think perhaps Councillor Burton, if she was on that group, should have advised him that there is a protocol for the cemetery, and it's there, it's all set out, what can go in there and what can't. Now, everybody around here knows we've got problems with things around the graves up there that have prevented us cutting in. It's been an issue that's been a hot topic for the last few years. It's how we deal with it to keep people, on side without falling out with anybody. And I think, as I said, I have no problem with that, but I don't want it to degenerate into an advertising campaign run by different groups. I have no problem with the sign or anything like that. But I think, you can thank people in other ways, just by putting it in the magazine, the newsletter, and the people are doing the work. I think they're doing a brilliant job.
So, Clive, would you be happy by just having the...
I'd certainly, yeah, I'll prefer the advertising.
And leave on...
I mean, I still think it needs to come back for approval, because if we've got to do it, we've got to do it right. And it's got to be done according to that. So I think it needs to be submitted again. The sign taken off, submitted, and then put in front of council for approval. If everybody in council approves it, then that's fine. And as I said, I have no problems with that, but I think it needs to be done properly, because at the end of the day, we're the responsible body for the cemetery. And I think we maybe need to sit down and have a discussion with the Friends of the Burial Ground. I don't mind taking part in that, because I've got a vested interest in such as this, so I'd like to see it done. And I think while we're on that topic, as people that go up there can see we're rapidly running out of space in that area, and I think we need to be mindful that we've got to move on and look for another cemetery as well as maintaining that one up there. So we've got another bigger issue coming up that we need to get people involved.
We've had the proposal, we've had the seconder, and now we've got the amendment. Anybody seconding your amendment?
Yes, I'll second.
Right, so we'll read the amendment out.
The amendment is to write to the Friends of the Burial Ground group, ask them to remove the plaque, and then ask the donor to reword the plaque.
And then bring it back to council for approval.
Yeah.
Right. That's a proposal, the amendment. All those in favour of that, please show. All those against?
Can I have a recorded vote, please, Chair?
You can. You're against. That's how we're casting vote. I think it should be left myself, but...
Well, that's a recorded vote, so we'll have a thing, we'll go around the room.
Yeah. What's the...
If I just clarify, I did speak to the clerk after it was on recently, and he advised me that it should be brought back to council to decide, because it had not been approved legally from our point of view.
Amendment mean that you would accept just saying donated by?
Well, I would like it brought back to council, and then will council agree with that?
You've got to put it to him.
No, the amendment's quite simple. Is we write to the group. We ask the group to approach the donors. The donors come up with more wording. The group comes back to the council. We authorise it.
It still has to be voted on.
The amendment is the amendment that's right.
Bridges? Councillor Burton?
Against.
Councillor Ireland?
I'll go with it. Yes.
Councillor Jarvis? For. Councillor Jepson?
For.
Councillor St John?
Against.
Councillor Thornton? For. So it's 4.
Right. We'll do that. Just straight away.
Well, it doesn't all the time. It gets away because the chair will bring it.
So that'll be 2.
I just made a complaint rather than 6 and done it all the time.
Well, everybody did, yeah.
That's a brilliant. That's evidence.
Right. 12. To discuss registering community assets.
Yeah, right, thanks Chair. I'll keep this brief. It's...
What about this one? Number 11.
Oh, I did that earlier on.
Because I've got a problem with this number 11. It's to discuss the lack of response to the council emails.
Well, you don't Roman numerals.
Yeah. You're jumping all over the place. Now, I have a problem because I write several emails to the clerk and I don't get replies. And I find that quite astonishing when we've got 4 people working in the office now. So I'd like to register my disquiet that some of the emails I'm writing I'm not getting replies to.
Clive, you did include
I did include that, and I mean I'll raise that at the staffing subcommittee, because I think we need to address a lot of these issues. The community assets, I don't know if anybody actually reads the advertising that's here. But there was an article a few weeks since about the possibility of a pub becoming a supermarket in Eastwood. Raised a lot of...
Can we continue now?
It was about a pub that again was sort of by a back door road to turn it into a supermarket. There's been a lot of movement about it in a massive petition collected, but one or two of the people in the audience will probably from Dinnington will understand the registry of viewing assets that the Dinnington Town Council are trying to get through. And I think it's something that we should actively look at in the village, because we've got post offices changing location, etc., etc. And what we don't want to do is things actually go out of the village, and obviously the couple is an asset to the community. And I think we should actively look at registering some of these, because I think we could miss out at the end of the day, because as you're aware, people are sort of manipulating the planning rules and regulations to avoid actually having to get official approval. So I would like us to look at what we can further that with the clerk. I've got some information on it somewhere from I think the local council's annual meeting last year at York, where they discussed about this. And I think it's something that we should do. It's something that we may not be able to do anything about it. But if anything does come up, it flags it up with us, and we're aware of anything that anybody's trying to do.
It's
So
private thing.
Yeah, and I think it gives us a option to at least object to things without us missing out.
So what do you want us to do then, Clark?
Well, I think we need to look at the procedure. Unfortunately, the town clerk at Dinnington's now left, who've done some of that work. So whether I can try and find out the route, and I'll liaise with Mark and see how it. But I think it's not something we have to. I think Dinnington's problem was it was things that were owned by the Borough Council that made it much harder. But these are obviously assets like pubs, post offices, etc., etc. That you can do without consulting anybody.
Right. Councillor Thornton to discuss water pollution at town wells.
Yeah. We spoke about this briefly. I think it was probably at a June or July's meeting. I was asked to put this on the agenda by Mrs. Wallhead. She's not here tonight. The reason being, she has a problem that her grandchildren were drinking water out of the town wells. Now, it's been mentioned over the years that the town wells is becoming more and more polluted. And she was rather concerned that implies that there should be some form of plaque on there to say it's not drinking water. Now, when we briefly discussed it the last time we discussed it, or last meeting, it was mooted, and I'm looking again at the clerk, that the council don't actually own any of that area in the town wells. Now, Mrs. Wallet's not here. The thing, I've explained to Mrs. Wallet that we're in a bit of a dilemma, because if we don't own it, technically we can't do anything about it. So I think the first question is, again, I'm looking at the clerk, do we own it? And I think the answer is no. We don't own the wells, and that's confirmed. Yeah. Right. We did, correct me again, Michael, we did try to register it, did we? And we refused.
Didn't have the evidence.
Right, we didn't have the evidence to say that we owned it. Now, is there any possibility, and I'm making a suggestion, I'm not making a proposal, that we look at this item again with regard to possibly bringing the town wells under parish council control. And one of the reasons I'm thinking on that lines is, one, we can put a plaque up saying it's not drinking water, and the other is, the actual area itself, an embankment, is not looking as good as what it used to do. The conservation group used to look after that, and they looked quite nice. But the last time I went down there picking litter, it was just a bare patch of earth where all the soil's eroded. So I'm throwing it open to discussion. A, should we look at putting a plaque there? And B, should we look at possibly re-registering it, or trying to re-register it again? Because we have maintained it in the past.
Can I just if I just update Councillor Thornton, when Mrs. Warland brought it up at the meeting in July, I'm trying to think how far back it was, July, August, July probably. Since then I've been in touch with Alan Gorzelek, if I get his name. sorry, I'll let you pronounce it, Martin, you've got a better take on it than me, at Rotherham. And I tried to arrange a meeting a few weeks since, but unfortunately Mrs. Warlick was on holiday, he was on holiday, I've been on holiday, and I've kept the clerk in the loop about it. I'm trying to set a meeting up in the next couple of weeks with him or one of his officers to meet out there and just have a look and see what options we've got, if any, and as to how we can move forward. So, as I say, if you look to attend the meeting, hopefully Mike will be there as well. It's really just so we can try and shed some light on where we are at the moment and what we can do to try and resolve it. I know Mrs. Waller's got concerns about it. So I will proceed. I'll set that meeting up and I'll keep, because we did want some emails about it, didn't we, Michael, earlier on, but it's just not happened because of holidays and whatever. So I'll try and set that up in the next couple of weeks if I can, Chair.
Right, next one, Councillor Thornton, to discuss the authority of the Chairman of the Staffing Subcommittee.
Right. I've asked to discuss the authority of the Chairman of the Staffing Committee, who just happens not to be here tonight, Councillor Bolton. Can I ask a question, Chair? Does the Chairman of the Staffing Committee have the Council's authority to redact Parish Council minutes?
Well, yes, if the names are in it, of course.
Right. And what rule, regulation or law gives the Chair, Councillor Dalton, of the Staffing Committee the right to redact Staffing Committee meetings minutes?
Data Protection Act, probably. I don't know.
Well, it's not a probably. It's either she's using the Data Protection Act or she's not.
Well, I don't know. You should ask her.
No, I'm asking you, because you're Chair of the Council.
I don't know.
Right. Can I ask another question then? Yeah. I've had an email off the clerk quoting legal advice, and I can't tell you where that legal advice comes from because the clerk is refusing to answer, Mrs. Collins is refusing to answer, and you're refusing to answer. And that legal advice quite clearly states on the first line that every councillor is allowed to see any document of the council on council business. Now, have you, Chairman, at any time been involved in stopping me from seeing staffing committee minutes?
Yes.
Right. And would you like to state to the public what your involvement is then?
Because you're not a member of the committee.
Right.
This is what?
You're not a member of that committee.
No, but it says any councillor, not committee member.
Right. So, you've now just made a statement in public that I'm not allowed to see the staffing committee minutes because I'm not on the committee. What rule, regulation or law gives you the authority to prevent me from seeing parish council documents?
Well, yeah.
The email that was sent to Councillor Thornton quite clearly explains the rules, laws and regulations which he's quoted a section of, which goes on to say that councillors are not allowed to have open access to all documents. The source of that information is on the bottom of each of those paragraphs, so it's not legal information that I have sought or legal information that I have put together. And are simply extracts of legal information that is readily available in the public provision. The source of each of those items of legal advice, one being the Law Society, the other one being the solicitor who was quoted at the bottom of the article, are both in that email. And I can't understand why Councillor Thornton didn't see that.
Right. I've read them documents you sent to me, and I've also inquired where you got the legal advice from, and I wasn't given an answer. Right, the next question is this then. That document clearly states on line 1 that a councillor is allowed to see any document on the council provided it's to do with council business. It also gives on that legal advice several instances where councillors could, and I say could, possibly be prevented from seeing the information. So now, Chair, without asking the clerk, I would like you to answer why, on which reason, quoted in that legal advice, that you're using to prevent me from seeing documents of the council.
I'll tell you, Stuart, won't I?
Well, I've just asked you a question.
You want me trusted to keep secrets.
Right, well, right. Right.
I'll give you the example. I'll give you the example. I'll give you the example.
Well, be very careful what you say because you're on camera.
You came in, I'm not on sound camera. I'm out.
Right, you're on camera. So be very careful what you say.
We had a meeting where some people...
Right, can I just, I think I'm going to protect you here. I think I know what you're going to say. And I think you ought to think very carefully before you give the answer.
We had a meeting which involved the nursery. And in the meeting, Councillor Dalton, you said, can we take it that the schools at Dinnington won't close? And her answer was, I cannot answer that because it does not come up till tomorrow's meeting. That's what she said. Then, suddenly, on the website, a statement appears from you saying that Councillor Dalton had guaranteed that those children's things would remain open. She never said anything to the sort. And that's why you weren't given information about staffing.
Right, so now, just hang on a minute, stop interrupting, I'm still speaking. Right, what's just happened? Excuse me, don't interrupt when I'm speaking.
Stuart,
right, listen.
You've had your say.
No, listen. I'm replying to you, so the first thing is, what you've just said is not true. The second thing, I warned you to be careful, because the issue you just mentioned...
Can I ask that Councillor Thornton stops bullying? Stops this bullying behaviour. I've warned you. It's a bullying comment.
No, it's not.
Can I ask you a question?
No,
did you put on a website, Councillor Dalton has said that the school will remain open?
She did.
Let me make a statement. At present, the issue the chairman has just mentioned is under investigation by the Standards Committee as a direct result of a complaint from Councillor Dalton to the chairman, and the chairman made the complaint. The chairman shouldn't be talking about complaints. But let's go further. I'm telling you now, what you just said is wrong.
Yeah, answer the question.
No,
did you put it on a website?
Listen, I'm not answering no questions on a case that's in progress. Now, let's go back to my original question to you, that you singularly failed to answer. Which part of that legal document that was sent to me are you using against me to prevent me seeing documents of the council?
Because you breached confidence in a meeting and published it on a website open to the public, and you shouldn't, because there are people's names in there, and you should not have put it on a public.
Don't tell me what I can and can't do. Don't point your finger in a friendly manner at me.
Because you're...
Don't point your finger at me.
You were in a confidential session.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about an entirely different issue.
On a website.
We're talking about an entirely different issue. We're talking about an entirely different issue. And if you think it's acceptable to sit there haranguing me in a meeting, you need to consider your position.
Go on. Councillor Simpson.
When this matter has come up in the past, I have said that from my experience at the borough level, from my experience in the borough level, where the same rules of if you like, local authority law applies, there are instances where councillors are not entitled to see all the minutes of committees or subcommittees. Now, if we were listening to the clerk, if you like, who is our senior officer, there's no wonder the chair asks for advice every now and then, because Michael, as the clerk, is the man or the woman to give it. And he actually read out an answer which you didn't listen to, Councillor Thornton, which said that there are...
Don't start making accusations in public that are not true. You have a word.
Will you be quiet, please, and let Councillor Simpson speak?
Well, you
keep interrupting.
You chair the meeting properly and stop this man making insults.
I have to stop you.
You do it every time, John. Stop you from speaking. You never stop this man from speaking.
I've been here for, I don't know how long, less than an hour, and I've heard a great deal from Councillor Thornton. But the clerk actually read a reply, and he did say that there are times when individual councillors may not see minutes. Now, I'm not going to challenge the clerk. If other councillors wish to challenge the clerk, then I suggest that they come, if you like, with a letter quoting chapter and voice of why they are entitled. Not simply to say on what grounds, because the councillor has asked a question in the past and he's been told in the past the same answer.
I've now finished, Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to really agree with that and to say that Councillor Thornton's been given an answer by the clerk regarding the regulations and the legislation. If Councillor Thornton isn't happy with that, then he needs to take that now to another place and we need to move on from this discussion.
Right. I agree with that. We'll go to the next. Councillor Thornton. The chairman
round to speak.
because it's all been said.
I have a right. No, I have a right to reply when these two councillors speak.
Chairman's refusal.
This is the problem, Chair.
The chairman's refusal.
Always stifling.
The chairman's refusal to meet with me. We'll meet with councillors.
I'm standing on a point of order again, Chair. While I was speaking to you just then, this councillor just made a comment like that. He does it frequently in this meeting to show disdain during the meetings. I'm now making a complaint to you again, on camera, that this man is acting in an insulting manner towards me. I'm now making a complaint to you. Let me speak with one stop.
Stuart,
and I expect you to take
your signs when he was trying to speak, and they were not nice.
Excuse me. I've made a complaint. I'm now asking you to take some action.
I'm not taking any action at all.
Can you say that louder so we can have it on camera?
No, I'm not taking any action because we want to get on. The next item you've got to discuss the chairman's refusal to meet with councillors. I suppose that's me.
Are you the chairman?
Yes.
To discuss the chairman's refusal to meet with councillors. Right.
Not with councillors, with councillor.
Well, it says councillors here.
Well,
I was councillor. So your line is just me that applies to them.
Well, nobody else is complaint.
Right. I have written to the chairman.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4 occasions. I can't remember how many.
I've got them all here.
Right. And I've asked for a meeting to discuss what I believe could be illegal practices and things that are going wrong with the council. The chairman, while he's willing to sit and discuss these issues with other councillors, point blank refuses to meet with me. And he does so by saying, I can't have a meeting with you because we seem to be having secret meetings.
Yeah. Well, Councillor Stewart, if I can just go on, I've been...
You're interrupting again. I'm
answering your question.
No, I'm not
most of the councillors around this table have been accused by you and by members of the public many, many times of having secret meetings.
Right. I stand by that as well.
And you've done that many times. So,
I stand by what I say on this table.
So I'll read for the public's benefit, I'll read my answer. I do not think that a private meeting with you is in the best interest of democracy and openness. It would allow fingers to be pointed at us saying that we are meeting in secret. I am happy for you to bring your comments to be heard in council.
I have nothing to hide. Out of this council, I'm probably one of the most open and transparent councillors. I have nothing to hide. But I think when a councillor, regardless of who it is, we're laughing at. Do you think I'm not open and honest?
I've got something to say to you.
Right. It's just the way he was laughing when I was making comments. I thought that was a bit awful. When a councillor, regardless of who it is asking to meet with the chairman with very serious concerns of how this council operates, and the chairman refuses to meet, I find that irregular, highly irregular, and quite extraordinary.
Well, can I just answer that one, Corey?
Yes.
Yeah. The reason that I don't meet with you, Stuart, is because you blabbed out stuff in a meeting that was confidential to the public, and I didn't want it to happen with me, and I refused. You criticised me, and you've criticised the Labour Party particularly, for having secret meetings.
I criticised you for doing wrong.
I want to have one with you.
I criticised you.
Citizen Council, I presume, who earlier this meeting actually said to me that I could not be bothered to make a statement to the Standards Committee when I hadn't even been asked to. There were 3 meetings ago called me corrupt, and a few months ago, in front of Councillor Jackson, at the end of the meeting, told me I have no integrity. But we stood up at the end of the meeting, and when you finished Friday, I said to you, you shouldn't have said that to me, should you agree?
I've said it in public.
And also when the councillor went into the kitchen and asked me to join in there, he said, come on, you come in, I won't hit you as well. So that's it.
No, let's
It'll be moved
What did he also say? He says, I'm not coming in because people will think we're having a secret meeting.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not the one losing my marbles.
Yes.
Can I just
Sorry, Chair. Yes. Chair, I've actually moved that we move to next business.
Yeah, get on to it.
If that's seconded,
Yeah.
second vote on that.
Amendment.
We don't have to move on.
Okay. Right, the date and time of next meeting, 20th of October at 7:30.
Questions from the public?
No questions from the public.
Why not?
There is.
Date and time first is number 11, please. Which is date and time of the next meeting, 20th of October. And then number 12, to resolve to adjourn the meeting in order to allow the public to raise any issues regarding today's meeting. No resolutions may be moved under this item, and the section is limited to 10 minutes. It's now 5:09. Right, anybody got anything to say? Right. Anybody got that? Anybody who has never asked or made any comments before got anything to say first?
Oh, favouritism.
It is, yes. We'll give them a chance.
This is continue of the last meeting.
It's democracy.
Go on, move it along, move it along.
Right.
Well, as an atheist, I think...
She's asked a question before. You just said anybody who didn't ask a question. Mrs. Reynolds has asked a question before.
It's not a question. It's not a question. This is...
You just said questions from anybody who hasn't spoken before. Mrs. Reynolds has spoken before at these meetings.
To resolve to adjourn the meeting in order to allow the public to raise any issues regarding today's meeting.
Yeah.
Any issues regarding today's
But you said anybody who hasn't asked a question before. I haven't asked one.
Okay.
Can't get issues of the last
Can we
meeting.
just, come on, we're nearly getting there. Just let Mrs. Reynolds speak.
Yes.
I'm sure it'll be interesting.
Oh, come on, Chair.
I find it heartening that this group have donated a chair. And quite frankly, I think their plaque should stay on it, email, address and all. If people don't want to email them, they don't have to. I don't think it's going to corrupt or upset anyone. All the people I've spoken to about it are quite happy with the chair, and they are astonished that anyone could find anything wrong with it. The point is, it's not being put before the council.
That's the
That is the crux of it.
Mr. Stone, right. Mr. Stone.
You referred earlier on in the meeting to the letter that I sent to the clerk
Yeah.
and the response I've had.
Yeah.
And the meeting that broke up last week, I still didn't get the answer.
Have you got your answer in the letter, haven't you?
No, I haven't. You said 100 of the operational costs that the land purchase is part of the operational costs.
Yeah.
A one-off land purchase is not part of your operating budget. That comes under capital expenditure or miscellaneous.
Yeah. Well, that's nothing to do with this meeting, I'm afraid.
Can I just ask
You didn't answer the question.
That's nothing to do with this meeting.
Well, why aren't you answering my question?
Now that Sean Wright has resigned and Thacker has resigned, Chairman,
Yeah.
shouldn't Councillor Burton resign? She was a cabinet advisor to Sean Wright, the Children and Young People's Board, during 2005.
Okay, but there's nothing to do with this meeting, so the answer...
It was continue of the last meeting, you said. I asked the question at the last meeting.
The answer is no.
Well, it is.
Can I just ask a question?
Senior Advisor, Children and Young People's Board, 2005.
Your question was, should she resign? And the answer is no. So
Is that your considered opinion?
That was the last. Yes, continue.
I'd like to ask Councillor St John if he remembers going to a seminar in April 2005 about the sexual abuse in Rotherham. Well, why didn't you do anything about it? Because if it was my daughter and I could have done something about it, I would have had the lot of them.
It's nothing to do with this meeting, you know.
The short answer is that is nothing to do with tonight's meeting.
Exactly.
If you...
It's a continuation of the last meeting, and it was something to do with it then. Thank you.
I have said many
This
times...
is a continuation of the last meeting.
Chair, I don't know how, you know, we can't function in a democracy.
Don't avoid the question, Ian, just answer it. Do you remember going to the
Christine,
seminar?
I am not answering that question in a parish council meeting. If you want to talk to me pleasantly and politely after this meeting, I am more than happy to talk to you.
I would like you publicly, please. Do you remember going?
How much proof do we need to show that Councillor Burton is not
the answer is no.
to represent Anston? She should go now.
Yes.
I asked a question before. Is that right? That's one, Chair, please.
Comment, yes, please.
Thank you. I've been in the parish a long time, and I've been involved in the parish doing various different things, and I've always been happy to give up my time to do that. I found myself drawn in to what's happening in Rotherham as a borough and also as a parish. And I've been asking myself some serious questions about what's happening. And episodes like tonight and last week, where I can see a lot of disrespect for people, abuse of people's good nature, talking people down, shouting at them, being unpleasant, just absolutely means nothing to the business of this parish. What I'd like to know is this, and this is my question, so sorry for rambling on. I have a question. Do you really think that behaving in this way, and I address this to everybody, public as well, is really helping this parish?
No.
I think challenging wrongdoing is a very good thing, and keeping it silent and under wraps is not.
Let me come in. Right. Sorry, I didn't catch your name. What's your name?
It's Ivan.
Simon?
Ivan.
Sorry, Ivan. Right. You have seen a lot of, shall we say, toing and throwing around this meeting tonight.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad feeling between people both in that area and this area.
Clearly.
There's insults fly from this area around councils, from all sides, and there's insults fly from the public. Let me tell you why, the reason these insults fly. We've had a good example tonight. These people, and others who've left tonight, came to the last meeting to ask questions, which is their democratic right to ask questions at council meetings. They hold us to account. The chairman failed to control the meeting last time, and it descended into chaos, and therefore lots of people who had perfectly legitimate questions, either about this parish or RMDC or matters that affect this parish, were not given the opportunity to have answers to the questions. What's happened tonight is deliberately the chairman has bypassed those questions in order to protect people around this table. Now, let me finish. Can I explain a minute?
But I'm sorry, Councillor Thorpe, I can't say this longer, but all I've heard tonight is not just you, but a lot of other people talking over and having a say, but quite honestly, I'm not interested in why you don't like him or she doesn't like her. I want to know, do you really think that this is benefiting the parish of Anston with all that long-winded waffle that everybody's been doing?
Yes.
No, it's not. But the reason
Thank you.
The alternative, keeping things quiet, is very damaging.
The reason it's not benefiting is because we have weak chairmanship that can't control the meetings, that refuses to answer questions, and the members of the public get extremely frustrated because what they see is, when they don't get an answer, all they see is cover up and farce. That's why the public keep interrupting from all sides. That's the problem.
Chair, I've got the answer, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm entitled to do it.
It's wrong, but you're entitled to it.
Well, you see, again, this is the problem.
No, it's not.
Is that all right?
He's dead right.
As you know, you can't see other people's views. I try to be as open and honest as possible. You don't. You see, again, you're throwing insults at me now. You can't have a proper discussion.
Sorry, Chair, I said he's joking. That's not an insult.
I'd like to agree with this gentleman at the back. I'd like to be involved in the parish council. I've been to all of the meetings this year. I am involved in other projects within Anston. But like this gentleman, I find the level of aggression within the room quite appalling, to be quite honest. I to speak for the last 2 or 3 meetings. I've not been able to. Meetings have been suspended early. People shouting out, you can't hear what's going on, people can't have a fair say. I think it's disgraceful, it's disgusting, it's rude. And those of us in the parish that want to work with yourselves to do things, we're not getting a chance. We're not even getting a say. Sorry, because I've never spoken before, but I feel I have to. I don't care what political persuasion somebody is. I'm not bothered. But we should all stop this childish bickering, and we should all pull together for the good of Anston, and that's just not happening.
That's not
and it's sad. And
that is not happening.
It's sad and it upsets me. We should all be working together. We should just stop all this rubbish that's going on.
Yeah, we should be working for Anston and not the Labour Party.
No, hang on a minute. Does it matter who I vote for or who you vote for? Does it really matter which political party we vote for? We're here for Anston.
It does when the political party is constantly pushing the party line over and above what's good for the village.
Claire, you see, I've given you a chance to speak and you've been interrupted.
And I do appreciate
You've been interrupted.
Because I have been trying for 3 months.
So rather than, yes, last one then.
Thank you very much.
Can I get back to this issue with Anston Well? If we've got such a dangerous issue with this well in this village, I find it well, you just said.
No, nobody said it was dangerous.
Well, the argument is it's contaminated water. Right. So if you don't think that contaminated is dangerous, that's down to you. What I'm trying to say to you is if you think that we've got such a dangerous well, contaminated well, well, put it contaminated, which, bearing in mind, you just said you don't think it's dangerous. Let's put it this way. For one, what level of pollution is it? Who stated this level of pollution? Rotherham Borough Council and Clyde, right, would be far outruled by the Environmental Agency, plus the public health people. This water in this well has been drunk by Anston people for hundreds of years. Including you, Clyde, including a lot of people and a lot of families out of this village. Name one case in this village who has been polluted, being suffered illness by it or whatever from that well.
Let me reply to something you said.
Nobody's tested it. You can't test it.
How do you know that?
Because if you test it at 10 o'clock, by 12 o'clock the pollution levels or the clarity of that water could change.
Yeah.
Just like it can in your own tap. So what I'm telling you is, right,